so excited to have the sister joining me on the show to talk some Wizards basketball. It is Carita Parks of Double Take Sports. Carita, what's up, sister? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. So good to see you. So good to have you. See all the work you're doing in the DC area. We appreciate you doing that for sure. So I got to talk to you about the Wizards. We got to talk about their start to the season. They got off to a good start, 10-3. But before we get there, they made a lot of offseason moves, right? Got rid of Westbrook. Westbrook gets out of here. They bring in guys, veteran guys who can play, Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell. What did you think of these Wizards move before this season started? Were you excited about this? Did you think this was the right direction for the team to go and sending Russell Westbrook to LA?
Well, something that the general manager, Tommy Sheppard, mentioned in the offseason is that his priority was to add depth to the Wizards roster. So in making that move and being able to trade Russell Westbrook, which, we hate to see him go. He made a lot of history in his little time in DC, but we got 3 players that are contributing this season, and they did add to the depth of the Wizards. So Tommy Sheppard, his vision was to do exactly what he did. So obviously I didn't know how it would play out, but I know that he definitely made a move that made sense and also lined up with what he said he wanted to do in the offseason.
He absolutely did that, Carita. And then Tommy Sheppard, just the other day, he gets the contract extension as GM after this great start the Wizards had, the 10-3 start. He gets it. It seems like they have depth. Obviously, we'll get to Bradley Beal a little bit later, but were you happy to see him, get this extension? What does this mean for the Wizards in terms of stability for them going forward?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It provides some stability. You know that Tommy Sheppard is going to be there at least for the next couple of years, and he's made some controversial moves with the John Wall trade. But now you see how it's all panned out and it's all come full circle. So while John Wall was a cornerstone for this franchise, now you have a team that is playing playoff caliber basketball. I know it's early in the season, but you see like I said earlier, you see the vision coming to fruition. And so now you have trust in Tommy Sheppard, and the fans are starting to see it. And I think Bradley Beal, who was fairly close to Tommy Sheppard, always had that faith in him. So, he deserved his contract extension. The fact that he was able to offload John Wall's contract, then Russell Westbrook's, and then bring in the players that he brought in the offseason, he's definitely doing his job.
Absolutely. Because look, if you think about it, Carita, I don't think many people thought he could get rid of either of those contracts, considering how you're right. So the fact that he got some return, there for them, I think he's doing the Lord's work. Let's just say that.
Exactly.
he's doing the Lord's work there. So the Wizards get off to this 10-3 start that we're talking about this season, and I think it shocked many people around the NBA because they just didn't expect the Wizards to play that good. What are the keys from what you watching the Wizards? Have you seen them playing well? What's been the keys to them getting off to that 10-3 start? Now 10-5, they lost 2 in a row, but what were the keys to getting off to this good start?
Well, first and foremost, we do have to start with the new coach. He definitely understands the game of basketball. His father was very important to the franchise as well, but he's brought a new energy to that team. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, the Wizards are playing defense, which is something that we have not seen in years. I've been covering this team for 3 seasons, and they have been struggling on defense consistently. And the keys to them winning these games have been their defense. The games that they haven't won, ironically, is because their offense hasn't been where it needs to be in the games that they have lost. So defense has been key to the Wizards' success. And they also just seem to be playing for each other, which is just not to say that there was any strife or anything in the past. I never saw that. But you can see a different kind of bond with this team, which is also pretty interesting, being that they just came together this season.
And you saying that about the bond with the team and Coach Unseld Jr., Wes Unseld Jr., being there, how much of that is on him? Do you think do you look at it from you covering the team, has he really shifted the culture? Because we've seen this happen with other teams where it can happen really quick, Sarita, that the culture can really shift. How much of that do you put on the impact of Wes Unseld Jr.?
I definitely think that he has an impact on it. I believe that he has expectations that he has brought forth to this team, and they are rising to the occasion. I actually asked him recently in a press conference about how he's building chemistry with the team, and he talked about it starts with relationships. And so he is building relationships with each player. He said that, if there is something that they need to talk about or if they have an opinion, like my ears are open. There's open communication. If we don't agree, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. So there's that comfort level there. And Kyle Kuzma echoed that. He said that Coach Unseld Jr., being the fact that he was an assistant coach, that has also helped him in the NBA being a head coach, because Kuzma was saying, they're used to working with their assistant coaches in the NBA. And so being that he has that background, he understands the player coach relationship. So that definitely goes into how the team is playing. But also, I will say, I think like with Kuzma, KCP, and Harrell coming from the Lakers and that championship culture and just understanding what it means to win, I also believe that they are contributing as well to the culture shift along with the coach.
Okay, that's a really good point, because you think about the culture of them coming there along with the coach and the communication there. See, that's great insight from somebody who covers the team and knows that. I got to ask you, okay, 10-3 start, but back-to-back losses, Carita, losing to the Hornets, losing to the Heat. The Wizards play the Heat again on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Is there any concern in what you've seen in these back-to-back losses, or do you still like where this team is?
I still like where they are. I think they need to learn from the mistakes. So with the Hornets, it was, like I said, the offense wasn't getting off very well. And then last night they had some issues with defense. And also the Hornets, like the way that they were defending the Wizards, you could see that threw them off. One thing I have noticed about Coach Wes Unseld Jr. is he makes adjustments. So I think that we're going to see them make some adjustments and come out a bit more energized, especially being home. So I'm not going to be concerned about these back-to-back losses. They have to lose at some point. Now, I'll be concerned if they lose two more to the same teams.
Right.
I'll have a little concern. But one thing I'll say is the Wizards have said all season, although they are starting off well, it's a long season, and they know that they're going to hit some bumps in the road, and there's going to be some challenges. So they're also mentally prepared for those moments where they may have these back-to-back losses or possibly a couple of back-to-back losses.
It's all about how they respond to that, and they have a chance to respond to the recent loss to Miami on Saturday night. Now, down in the Chocolate City, the fans have been wanting to see a Wizards contender. I know people down there, my friend Jamoke Davis, big-time Wizards fan, grew up there. They've been wanting to see a contender there. How excited is the city about this team right now?
Oh, I mean, they're very excited, and they're excited because it's a surprise, right? Who thought the Wizards would start off so hot? There was this expectation, which was a reasonable expectation, that they would need more time to build their chemistry and to start winning. So the expectation was, they're probably going to lose some games up front and then like gel together later on. But being that they have come out the way that they've come out, the city loves Montrezl Harrell, just like his energy. When you are at the arena, the fans are into the games and they are loving it. So it's been a long time since I've seen that kind of energy at Capital One Arena. So right now the fans are basking in the success, and I definitely hope it continues as the season progresses.
Well, hoping so in that regard for the Wizards. Now, the Wizards doing all this, Carita, they've been doing this winning. They're off to this good start. And one of their best young players, Rui Hachimura, is still out. He hasn't been there. So there's room for optimism in that regard, that he can come in whenever he's ready to come back and help the team. How much better do you think this Wizards team can be as we progress through the season?
Oh, I definitely think there's a lot of potential because you have Rui returning. Hopefully they're expecting that Thomas Bryant will return.
Right.
And he's also one of their best players. So there's a lot of room for this team to get better. As far as Rui returning, the thing with Rui right now is Kyle Kuzma has been playing so well at the power forward position. And then this team has been off to such a good start, and he hasn't necessarily been on the court with them. And Wes Unseld Jr. has said it'll be a challenge trying to incorporate him back in. I do know that he is going to play a couple games or start practicing with the Capital City Go-Go, which is the G League team, just to start to get his conditioning back. But Rui's an excellent player, and if he is mentally in the place to be there, he will 110% contribute to this team's improvement.
Yeah, no, I think there's no doubt about that, and that could take them to another level, Carita. Now, everything in Washington, you've heard it because you've been plugged in the last couple of years. What's the future of Bradley Beal? What is Bradley Beal going to do? Is he going to stay with the Wizards? Now, personally, for me, Carita, it's encouraging that he stayed through Wall being traded and Westbrook being traded. The constant is him. He's still been here. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA. What do you think the future is for Bradley Beal? And does this season, this start, the commitment to Tommy Sheppard, who you said he's close to, do you think that bodes well in terms of him staying in DC?
I think so, because from what I've gathered from like press conferences and from Bradley Beal and Tommy Sheppard made a commitment to build this team around Brad and to get him the pieces and the help that he needs, and that played into Bradley Beal staying here. He's been exceptionally loyal to this franchise. And from my perspective, if he's seen that coming together, I think that he'll be here for a little longer, especially if this team continues to play like they're playing and they make it to the playoffs. I believe, Bradley Beal will definitely stay here. But just seeing the potential of this team, he just hasn't had that. He hasn't had help. He hasn't had to be that 50-point player this season, and I think that's what he's been waiting for. Obviously, he can score 50 points, and he's successful with that. But I could tell that he likes having help around him, where he doesn't have to be that guy every single night.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll make it easier for you to stay where you don't have to be relied on to score 50 points all the time. Last thing for me, Carita, we talked this whole part about the Wizards' strong play this season. Mm-hmm. But the big question, I think, when you have teams that surprise everyone, is it sustainable? Can they continue this play? Do you, as somebody who's around the team, believe that what we've seen thus far from the Wizards is sustainable?
I think it's sustainable as long as they keep focusing on winning the way that they have won, which is playing defense, being efficient offensively, and just having that resiliency to the very end of the game. We've seen them scrap out some wins here. So if they stay true to that, I do think it's sustainable. And based on the attitude of this team, they don't have a losing attitude either. So I believe that they'll continue to push forward. Like I said, Wes Unseld Jr., you see him make adjustments. So he's going to continue to make those adjustments. He's a very calm, cool, collected guy, and he's going to keep this team focused. He always said, even though they were off to a great start, he was like, we can't be satisfied. We cannot be satisfied. And I think that that's been his message from the beginning of the season, and it'll continue to be.
I think it will. And if that continues to be the case, I know the fans down in the Chocolate City are going to be very happy if the Wizards continue to have this really good play.
Yeah.
Carita Parks, thank you so much for joining me on the NBA Exchange. Absolutely. I love you. Love your work with Double Take Sports. Keep it up. Love the independent content creation. So please continue to do that. And hopefully we'll have you back on again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.